What is up, everybody? This is DanDanTheFireman here. I want to talk to you about beginner motorcycle mistakes. I got 5 of them. And I've been doing a lot of tips, a lot of motorcycle tip videos, and I just realized I've never done like a motorcycle mistake video. There's a lot of things that you can follow, but if you don't know what you're doing wrong and you think you're doing the right thing, there's no point. You need to know what the wrong thing is. So let's go ahead and talk about that while I'm behind this Mazda CX-9, because they're gonna be going slow. All right, to start it off, before anybody mentions that I have my phone right here and I have my notes, I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at the road. I'm being safe. Don't do what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a while. So first off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about counter steering. A lot of people think that they don't need to do counter steering, that they just move their body, you know, to make the bike move or to actually turn the handlebars like that. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be pulling on any handlebars. What you want to do is counter steer, which is more of a pushing of the handlebars. See, right now, I'm barely just going to hold the handlebars, and I'm just going to use my body. The bike's going to want to stay upright. My body is turning the bike just a little bit, and it's just doing this. You're not going to be able to make that 90-degree turn on a right-handed turn at the intersection. You're not going to be able to turn left, you know, at an intersection, or even do this kind of turn. It's not even that hard of a turn, but what you're going to realize, and you're probably doing it without realizing it, is that counter steering is the act of pushing on the handlebar. So I'm pushing on the right bar, I'm pushing it that way, turn right. If I want to go left, I'm going to turn, or I'm going to push on this handlebar and make it go left. See, right now I'm going to push, and see how I just turned a little bit, push, turned a little bit, push, turned a little bit. That is counter steering, and you probably aren't realizing that you're doing it. See how I'm going to turn, I'm pulling, that's turning it. It's not like a bicycle, it's counter steering. Your bike's going to want to stay upright, so in order to turn it, you have to counter steer. Sounds so weird. It's almost like an oxymoron to say I'm counter steering, but that's what you're doing. Right there, I just pushed on the handlebar to turn left and turn right. So that's something you're going to have to realize, and you have to start doing on a regular basis and actually be cognizant about it. I'm going to push right here, and it turns. Simple as that. Realize you need to counter steer. Mistake number 2. A lot of people do not want to buy motorcycle protective gear. They just bought this really expensive bike, whether it was used or not used. It's within your budget, basically. So you basically used up your whole budget on the bike. Now you have to buy gear. I've done so many videos on motorcycle gear, and I highly recommend checking those videos out because I have so many videos on it. I have helmet videos, I have winter gear guide, summer gear guide. These are all things that you're going to need to get when you ride a motorcycle. It's not like driving a car. You don't have a seatbelt, you don't have protective airbags. The gear that you are wearing is your seatbelt, is your airbags, is absolutely every single piece of protection that you need. So get a helmet, gloves, pants, jacket, boots. Simple as that. Check the link in the description or in the card in the upper right to check out my best video on that. The next tip I have for you guys is to know your fuel range. Now, a lot of bikes have different gas tanks. A lot of bikes have different miles per gallon. There's no trip odometer on a bike, at least not on the Harley. There's probably some on those expensive, nice, fun bikes, but not on this bike. If you have a newer car nowadays, they have trip odometers, so you know, like, you got 30 miles till the next fill up, or you run out on gas. You know, like, you got 300 miles range or whatever. On bikes, you don't have that. What you do have, even on a Harley, because Harley's kind of, you know, taking a step back in terms of technology anyways, we do have 2 trip odometers. I use number 1, trip A, for my fuel range. Number 2, I use it for my oil range. I usually change it out every 3,000 miles. That's what I have trip B for. But trip A, every time I fill up, I reset my trip. For me, I know personally that I have about 100 gallons, not 100 gallons, I have 100 miles until I really truly want to fill up. I will have my reserve fuel or my fuel light pop up at that time, and I just know, you know, I gotta fill up. So it's pretty easy for me, 100 miles. Now, when I was in the Cafe Sportster mode, when I was like super low, tucked in, really good fuel mileage, miles per gallon on that, when I would go on long distance rides, I know that I could get around 140 until I absolutely ran out. Now that plays a huge thing, is that if you're going to go long distance, if you're going to be riding long distance, you need to pick the routes that have the gas stations within your fuel range. Also, if you're going to be traveling to work, commuting on this thing, you're going to need to know, and look at this, got this big old semi in the way, you're gonna need to know how far you can go without having to fill up. Because I mean, if you're going to work and you're like, you had that the gas light comes on, you're like, oh crap, I don't know how, you know, you're doing all this estimation. This way you'll know, you know, I just need to fill up. I just got to fill up. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to push it. So know your fuel range. That's something pretty big. That's a mistake that a lot of people do, is that they just guess, and you actually have to be cognizant. So the tip for that is to reset your gauge, trip A or trip E, or whichever one you want to do. That way you'll know, you know, kind of have an estimation of your miles per gallon. Mistake number 4 is you're wanting to ride with someone else on the bike. Having a passenger on the bike changes the dynamics of your bike so much. So if you're a beginner rider and you're still learning how to ride just with you on the bike, don't recommend putting someone else on the bike. Don't have anybody on the bike. Just don't do it. It's going to increase your braking distance. Your acceleration is going to be changing your turning dynamics. Your turns are going to be a lot harder to do. It's just the added weight. If you want to practice with it, it's kind of hard to, because a person on your bike is called a live load, so they're able to move and they don't stay stuck to the bike. A dead load or something that won't move is like something strapped to your bike. So if you're going to be taking like a 100-pound passenger, like my girlfriend is, she's a live load, but she's really good, and we kind of had discussions about how to be a passenger on the bike and whatnot. So she's more of a dead load on the bike, so it's really nice. But if you want to practice, get some motorcycle gear and just strap it on the rear fender. Basically, it's going to be kind of hard to get 100 pounds on there, so it's hard to practice, but I'm able to do it. I have the sissy bar and everything, so I can practice if I want. But I highly recommend do not put somebody on the back of the bike. It's just going to change so much. And if you really want to, I do have some passenger riding tips. There's a video in the description and a card in the upper right if you want to check that out. There I go over some passenger riding tips, and I'm going to go over some new ones pretty soon, so stay tuned to that. So if you like this stuff, click that subscribe button. There's a bell right next to it. Click that. That way you're notified every single time I post a new video, and when I post the new passenger rider tips, you'll be notified. All right, let's go to number 5. All right, stalling. It happens so much, especially at red lights. You're gonna stall. I still stall. I've stalled a few times, especially after adjusting my clutch and changing out my clutch and all that stuff. I've stalled probably 3 times since then. Ooh, that was a wide turn. It's gonna happen. It really is. What you need to do and realize, it's gonna be kind of a panicky situation, especially if at a red light, because the reason why you're gonna stall is because it's gonna turn green and you need to go. You're gonna let the clutch out too soon, and it's just gonna stall. So let's go ahead and practice that. All right, so here's a nice little road right here. Awesome. All right, so this is like a normal situation right here. We're at a stop sign. Actually, let's go to this one right here. We're at a stop sign. Let's say there's a bunch of people behind me. Okay, so for me personally, like if I'm sitting at a stoplight, I'm gonna put my shit in neutral. All right, so I'm sitting in neutral. I don't have my hand on the clutch. I can fall back, whatever. So I have my right foot on the rear brake. No one behind me? Cool. So what's gonna happen is, it's like, oh shit, it turned green. I got people behind me. They're honking or whatever. I need to get going. So I'm going to get up here, pull in the clutch, go into first, and then I'm just like, oh, I accidentally let it out too quick. What you need to know, what you need to do is to not just turn the bike on, hit start, okay? I know there's some safety features in some bikes where it won't let you do that unless you have the clutch in. Because remember, you're still in gear. That's what that little red, I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm in first gear still. So what you need to do quickly and safely, pull in the clutch again, okay? Start the bike. I have my hand on the brake too. I'm still in gear, so I don't need to go in first. Slowly let the clutch out, slowly get the gas. There we go. And that's it. So the tip to prevent that is to practice your friction zone. I keep forgetting the terms for it, but basically that sweet spot of clutch and throttle. There you go, clutch and throttle, that little sweet spot, and practice that, practice that, practice that. Back when I was practicing driving stick shift on a truck for 2 weeks straight, I was practicing it in my truck, that sweet spot, and I would practice on dirt, because you go like, but on dirt it just like, it peels out. So what you need to do is just find something secluded, not in traffic, don't do it in traffic. To go in a neighborhood, and practice stalling, or practice, you know, not stalling, but practice your sweet spot. So you can, you know, let the clutch, pull the clutch in, let the throttle, you know, just practice that. That way it'll become more natural and second instinct, or or it'll just be easier for you to do even in traffic, like right here. Well guys, those are my quick 5 beginner motorcycle riding mistakes that a lot of people do make, and some of them aren't so severe as the others. Like stalling isn't as severe as putting a passenger on your bike, but these are things that people want to do when they first start, and then they make these mistakes. Don't do that, and hopefully you're able to remedy that by practice. Practice. Take an MSF course, take a rider's course, watch some of my videos. Hopefully I can help out some of you, but if you have questions, comment below. I'll be able to answer those, or I can find somebody that can answer them for me. We're all here to learn. We're all here to be safe. So with that said, I hope you guys ride safe, wear your gear, and I'll see you guys later.